Hello and welcome from beautiful Salzburg
Good
again.
afternoon.
My name is Henrik. I'm responsible for all sales activities at Metaroom, and I brought my wonderful and beautiful colleague, Luca.
Luca, I'm responsible for the product development and all technical details.
As you might know from former webinars, it's always the two of us because, I'm what I always say, I'm the good looking, he's the brain. No, I'm just joking. As we saw in our preparations, which normally for every webinar is quite easy for us, it took us a bit more time this time, even though we are just talking about PDF and Excel exports. But what we found out is that there's a lot of details we have to keep in mind, which we're going to show you today. How many of you guys did until today use more than one export? Please write down your number. Is it the same export you use, or is it that you use different? Just type down a number and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 24, 2, great, 4.
Very interesting.
Yes, great. That's quite interesting because what we found out is that people use their exports, which they might need for their CAD programs or whatever, and that both the PDF exports we serve with and even the Excel export is a bit underrated, I would say, because there is so much information. And this is what we are going through with you guys in the next 56 minutes.
Yeah, that's correct. So today we don't want to focus on all the special export, the special interfaces with our partner software, but we want to really focus on the exports that help you in terms of documentation and getting the data out of the 3D model or your scan.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So let's just jump into our little presentation. Of course, we brought some PowerPoint slides. No webinar is good without PowerPoint slides. Even if we hate them, we need them. So basically, for you guys who never saw us before or who have never been in touch with Metaroom before, just a few words up front again. It is basically that we are sitting right next to the city of Salzburg in a beautiful building which doesn't fit into the scenery at all. And we are sitting in the fifth floor, basically. It's 23 people of us. Most of them basically work in Luca's team when it comes to all new features and
Exports
and the product itself.
Yeah.
That's enough for today. This is where we are at in Austria. The Metaroom platform, just to bring it back into your minds, what is required to get a good output? It's basically 3 steps. It's the scan itself. Most of you know it. Then, and it's one of the most important and underrated thing on top of the exports, it's like optimize your scans the right way in Metaroom Workspace. And of course, the third is export it in your needed format. What you see here is that we do already have a lot of partners out there, and even 25 more as we write down there in German.
Yeah.
Sorry for that. Honestly said, we know that there is some competitors out there, but what we try to follow a different path here, like to really cooperate with all of our partners, more or less, to really fulfill the best way of integrate into them.
Yeah, so we don't just consider like a file format as an interface between our solution and the partner solution, but we want to, usually when we collaborate with them, we have a look at the whole workflow, like what can we provide with Metaroom, based on Metaroom, what really helps you afterwards in your work that you are doing in your specialized CAD software, planning software, and so on. So we really try to focus on the most important parts. Use a specific file format, for example, IFC, or this might also be a PDF, or there are different flavors of exports that we use here, to make, on one hand, this transition as easy as possible for the users, and also to give them the most quality data that we can provide to facilitate or to speed up the workflow afterwards.
Exactly, as seamless as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next one. This is basically something we just invented the last days, like to really show like how we really work. Because what we faced and what we heard from our customers the last years, I would say, is that they only use one format. This is why I asked in the beginning, like how many different exports did you try already? Because normally you just do your workflow as usual every day. But what we try to point out on this page is basically that there is way more like to explore and to work with. Like I think like the most common things is 2D plans and 3D models, of course. But there's way more when it comes to, as you see, collaboration, documentation, a room data sheet, and as-built survey. Because what people underestimate a little bit, our solution is really, like I would say, in the front row when it comes to documentation. I mean, let's just imagine you scan something today, and 5 years later your customer needs some additional work or whatever. You always have the possibility to go back into your scans and where you are already served with all data, so you don't have to go back to your customer again and measure everything. And what we point out here as well is that we don't, if we invent new features, or if we invent something, it's not just only for one industry. We try to cover all the industries where our customers come from, to make a feature like feasible for all of them. I would say this is the right way to explain, right?
Yeah, exactly. So also, like with such a scan, you cannot just capture measurements, but you capture so much more data. And this is something that, we noticed a lot of people are missing, and that we wanted to address here. So our vision is really not just to digitize like a space, a few rooms, or even a whole building for every industry separately, but our vision is rather to digitize a space one time. So you only need one scan and can use this scan for different use cases, different industries, different planning tasks, and so on.
Yeah, I just saw in our crowd today that there is someone from Scotland as well, where we know that they use an IFC file on one hand and maybe a 2D export on the other hand. So and this is what we want to try to bring a bit closer to you today, and how to capture even more details. Right, let's go. We have a little bit of an agenda. Like we had to make a plan to run properly to everything. So what we're going to show you first is basically our simple 2D floor plan, which when it comes to like coloring areas, which most people don't know is possible, and most important thing, how to work in the workspace a bit better by, for example, naming your rooms. Second one is, of course, the one of the most used exports by now, the 2D floor plan, and what are the setting options. And then it's the snapshot photos, where you might think has nothing to do with PDF and Excel, but there is still some information here which can help you a lot when it comes to notes, and even create snapshots in the workspace and not while scanning. And of course, all those,
the most beloved export
it's the most beloved one, the project report, where we basically put all informations we captured somehow into one report. And last but not least, the same format in like all the details we are like putting together in the project report as an Excel sheet, where it's even easier to extract data.
Exactly. You get all the numbers in a way that you can also process them afterwards in some other programs, or also in Excel itself to do some reports and so on.
Okay, let's jump into
it. Great overview. Thanks, Henrik.
Thank you.
So let's jump into Metaroom Workspace then.
Yes.
Yeah, most of you know already by typing metaroom.mrex.ai in your browser, you can access the Metaroom Workspace with the same credentials you're using for your scans. And let's not talk too much about it. We just go into the project that we prepared for today.
So for you people like being experienced with the workspace already, what you see on the first side is that there happened a lot upfront, which we did upfront. Look at it, not we, look at it. So what you see is that Luca already created a lot of objects, as you can see in the pinkish color here, based on the snapshots we did upfront. But what that means and what it's good for, we're gonna go there step by step now. I think again, Luca, we should start with the hierarchy, right?
Yes. So on the left side here, you can see the model or the building hierarchy. You see we have one building, we have one floor, in this case, the 5th floor. And what we did first is to rename all the rooms to their, to get basically the proper naming. And you can see here, if I click on a specific room, it is shown in the 3D view. And with a click on the name, again, a double click, I can edit this. For example, I could also write something different here. Let's not mess up the really nicely named rooms. You can also add different details by using the pen icon here next to the element. And you can also add different information like tags and notes as well for basically all elements within the Metaroom model.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can see here, we don't just have rooms, but every room then consists of different elements, ground, ceiling, different walls. So we really have a structured model and structured data, which also helps us later on in providing all the information.
And I think what people see here for the first time is that grayish number here on the right side, which could be quite important later on.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do here, we give a unique ID to every element, either if it's a room or if it's different objects.
If it's a wall, if it's a surface, if it's a snapshot. And just to spoiler something from later, this will help like in making the connection between the printed 2D plan, for example, and the 3D model.
Exactly.
It helps you navigate between those two very distant worlds, basically.
Exactly. But let's stay with the simple floor plan. So basically what we do now, what we want to show now here, as you might know, some of you tried the simple floor plan already. It basically comes out as a floor plan with a bit of naming if you renamed the rooms, like the room name.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes with few informations like square meters or square feet in some cases, and the room height.
Mm-hmm.
But what we are going to show you now is basically if you hide the texture, which Luca just did with the brush icon on the upper middle part there.
Mm-hmm. Here on the top bar.
What you see now is that we have colored floors. This is something we did upfront, and Luca's going to show you how.
Yes. So the idea behind this was to color the floors using different colors to basically represent the room occupation. So for example, we could say the green rooms are the R&D rooms, the orange ones are marketing, then we have the hallway, we have the
meeting rooms,
the blue meeting rooms, and so on. How can you do this? You basically just click on a floor in a room, open here again this arrow to show the surfaces, and now on this surface, on this floor surface, you can click the pen button and change the color in here. For example, you can see here, you can choose any color you like. And there's also the possibility of saving color, so you don't end up with like two colorful floor plans. So for example, if I want to save a color, I first click into the placeholder in here. Then I select a color of my liking, for example, this dark blue here, and it will be saved down here. And if I want to change another room, the floor of another room, I can just click here on the color and I have it again. What I can also do is copy just this code here and enter it in another screen to also get the same color again.
Exactly. So if we have real estate people in our webinar today, that was basically a request more from the German-speaking area, like to color the floors because they basically use it later on for eBay if they want to rent out rooms and stuff. And that's basically it. I mean, the last step, if you colored all floors, if you renamed them correctly, then there's just one more step to go, which is basically the export button.
Exactly. Pressing the export button, we select here our simplified 2D floor plan, our first export that we want to show. You can have your name here. You can modify it. By default, it's always showing the project name. And you can also select either, on one hand, the language, but also the units that you would like to have, metric or imperial.
Exactly.
And we have here this little checkbox that uses or doesn't use this color information that we just show you. In this case, we want to have it in there. And then what we have to do is just to click on export. I'm gonna take a shortcut here and already have the downloaded file here, so we don't wait for it. You end up with a zip archive. The reason for this is that we have different files in there, and I'm going to show you what is in this archive. So on one hand, you have the PNG image of this floor plan. Basically, you can see here the colors that we selected. You have the outline with walls, doors, windows, a very simple representation. No measurements. You have here information about the specific room, for example, the name, the square meters, so the area, and also the room height. And this basically for every room. Here a little legend, and you also have a scale, yeah. Thank you.
No worries.
This is obviously a PNG image, so it's ready to go. You can add it to any document, to any website you like. If you want to use it as a basis for a more elaborate floor plan, for example, we added also an SVG file, which is basically the same, but in vector graphics form, which is editable in a lot of floor plan tools. So you can take this as a basis and then modify it to your liking.
So as you can see, it's way more than a PDF.
Yeah. And we also have the PDF version here, obviously, with some more information about the project, also with the address if you allowed the GPS coordinates during scan. Yeah, and then we have it here in the PDF export.
And that's basically it about the simplified floor plan. I guess
Yes.
there were some hints you didn't know yet.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go to the second one, which is the proper floor plan.
The normal 2D floor plan.
Proper floor plan.
So there's a bit more to do upfront if you like to. So if we bring back the textures here, then what we can see is that while scanning, we took a lot of snapshots. Out of those snapshots, which you mainly see here, is ceiling luminaires, basically, where Luca created boxes. All those boxes are brought back to life in the 3D scene. And if you rename those boxes as well, like Luca did there, calling it ceiling lamp square, and the other ones were ceiling lamp.
Exactly, we also have round ones here outside. For example, we have also round ceiling lamps.
Exactly. And we did the same for smoke detectors and
radiators. So it's possible for every object. Just to show you again how simple it is, you just click on the snapshot icon. So to add this ceiling lamp to the model, I just click on the lamp, give it a name and a type if I want, some color, text, whatever I want to add, and save the 3D element. And
exactly.
That's it.
And this is how we add more objects to our 3D scene in the first case. But, and that's the most interesting thing, again, as I said, if you rename those boxes, it's going to help you afterwards in your export formats.
Exactly.
Yeah, coming from there, we could basically already export it.
Yeah. So we go again to our export menu.
And this is the most interesting thing right now.
And select the 2D floor plan.
Exactly. And this is why I needed Luca, because there is some settings which need a bit of explanation, I guess.
But they are not so hard to understand.
No, it's just me not understanding.
So again, as you saw before, you can change the name, unit, language. What we have in addition here is the level of detail that I want to export. So we have here a range from the complete model, which exports everything like that you have in the model. So these custom created objects, the room geometry, and also automatically detected furniture. But I can also opt for exporting the room geometry only. And in between, we have like this mixture of room geometry and custom objects.
Exactly. Custom objects, again, is everything we created by ourselves, all boxes, which could be helpful in your daily work.
Then here we have a checkbox that also will include the automatically generated IDs for the rooms. As mentioned before, this helps us better navigate between printed 2D plan and 3D model.
Exactly.
Then here we have a whole section regarding layout. So what I can do here is select different page formats, so from A0 to A4, and also change the orientation if I want to have it in landscape or in portrait mode. A very important setting is the scale one. So when this is not selected, we will try to fill the page as good as possible. So we might end up with a scale that is somehow like not a really good number. We will see in our export later that this is 1 to 212, but it fills out the paper as much as possible. Obviously, all measurements and so on are then have the proper scale within the export. But what you can do here is, for example, if you want to compare it to an existing plan, you can also set the custom scale, for example, 1 to 50 or 1 to 100. And then this will be taken into consideration during the export, and you end up exactly with the proper scale on the paper. Next section is the dimensioning. Here we offer different pre-configured options, also again ranging from simple to complete. Simple gives you just the most basic measurements within the plan. Complete gives you all types of measurements, so from wall thickness to opening, all kinds of opening information, so window sill height, width, height, and so on. but also like distance from the border of a window to the next corner and so on. And readable is somehow compromised between the two. You can also opt for no dimensioning, or have here this custom option where you can really select the different types of measurements that you like.
Exactly.
In the plan.
On the first sight, it might look a bit like, there's a lot of settings to do, but it was basically the feedback from all users out there. Like, the one wants it this way, the other one wants it that way. And as a compromise, we said, okay, why do you not just do it on your own? Like, however you like it, because there are different use cases out there. And I guess if you guys give it a try, in some reasons, or with some different exports, you will find the best way for you.
And if you still need even more options, configurability, you can always opt for the 2D DXF export, which also contains all the information. And you can modify, for example, also the dimensioning then in a CAD program, if you like. Yeah, that's it. Then I didn't click on export now, but let's assume I did. So we are going to show you the result of this export, which is the 2D floor plan. Again, here you get some information about the project. Also, the plan scale is shown here, so 1 to 212, because we fill out the page as good as possible.
One more thing, because we had that question in 2 hours ago in our German version of this webinar, is basically what you get as even as measurements up here. Like it's the total room area of the whole floor, total room perimeters, and floor height is quite common. Later on, all those measurements will be more fragmented in.
You also get them on a room by room basis.
Exactly, basically. in the project report and even in the Excel report.
Yeah, if we have a look here, so for example, we have our rooms. Here we also have the north heading direction, so that's also a lot of times a very important information. So we have again here the room name, the square meters, room height. Also, you can see here all the objects that are in the model with their positioning.
And this is the most interesting thing. Again, if you did a proper work in the Metaroom workspace, all your self-created objects will show up here as well. And this could be quite helpful, when it comes to show it to your customers where you plan lightings, where you plan whatever you plan. It makes it easier to make it visible to all your customers. This is why we show that here.
Exactly. You have, for example, for windows and doors, you have here the height and width. Again, with the window sill height, you can see that there's already a lot of information here.
Exactly. I'm just looking into the chat room. Please feel free. Don't be shy to ask some questions if you need anything. I just found one here for the metric. Can you have it displayed as 6.6 instead of 6.6?
So we also have like here you see all the measurements in feet, but we don't have it like in feet and inches. We just present everything in feet for now. But that's a good way for improving presentation in the future. Good question.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good one.
So let's continue with the next export format. Or is there anything to add here?
No.
So the next one focuses on the snapshots. So just to show you something here in the workspace, I can, for example, filter also my model hierarchy. If I just want to show snapshots, I use this type filter and go to snapshots. And then I can go through them, for example, here, or I can click in the 3D model on a specific snapshot. Those snapshots have been taken during the scan. And you can also add notes to those. For example, here for the smoke detector, we added the number of this smoke detector, and you can take those notes here or also write them afterwards in the Metaroom workspace. And what you can also do is, for example, let's take this image here. I want to have this ceiling access maintenance door. I want also to add this one as a snapshot into my model. So not as an object, but as a snapshot. What I do then is, instead of selecting a box or a surface, I just select snapshot here, click on the part of the image where I want to add the snapshot, and then have it the same way as if I would have taken it during scanning. So I can also add some notes here, and you can see we end up with a green sphere, which shows the snapshot again, also with the notes and everything.
And this is a feature we added because we all know that you guys, if you are on site scanning, or if we did it with customers, for example, customers are always asking questions like interrupting you while scanning, and at some point you will miss snapshots. And this is the way, like, to add snapshots afterwards, because those snapshots could be interesting later on when it comes to counting things or to rename things, to even have a better view of our data.
Yeah, regarding the documentation that you need in a lot of use cases and workflows, we have prepared this special snapshot photo export here.
And from what I can tell is this is based on your feedback out there, because at some point people were asking for a snapshot export, and this is what we have since it's almost a year, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's quite old already.
Interesting thing is that you get all snapshots into one folder.
Yeah, I just open it here, so we also get the zip file again, which is also quite large because it contains a lot of images. So you get the folder containing, so for each floor, all the snapshot images in a structured way, so numbered. You can see here you get all the photos as JPEG files for reusing them in, for example, other files, other whatever, or just storing them on the hard drive. And you also get a PDF with it, which contains more useful information. If we open the PDF, we can see on the first page we have this overview, which exactly shows you, so with the circles and the number, it shows you exactly the snapshot with number, for example, 121, which points at this position in your floor plan or in your 3D model. Another thing that we have in here is like this square boxes. Yeah. I was looking for markers for another word describing both. So these square markers, we added this. So these are basically snapshot groups, because in this case we have two snapshots vertically, one above the other one. And so we don't want to lose the information here. So we summarized everything into group 11. And here in parentheses, you see that it's two snapshots in this group.
Would you just mind like showing it in the no, in the 3D model?
Okay, yeah.
Like just to really explain that.
So it's exactly this position. You can see there are two snapshots, one above another. And basically it's because with one snapshot we captured like this thermostat, with the other one we captured the light switch. And here we could be even having a third one for the power socket.
And this is what happens. You forget to set snapshots, which you forgot with the power socket.
Yeah, it's just a click.
Great.
And there we have it. And then also this image would show up again as a separate snapshot image in here in this export. Just to show you again, like we have here the visual overview of where every snapshot is pointing at. And then we also have here a table showing you again the number, which is synchronized with the images as well as the floor plan. We have here these different groups. We have the name. We were a bit lazy here and didn't rename all the snapshots, but most of the time it's not even necessary. We have here our unique ID that you can also basically see again in the Metaroom workspace in the 3D model. And we also have the user nodes here in the last column of this table.
So as you can see, it's even if it's just called like snapshot export, like export your photos, there comes a lot of more information with it. It's the whole PDF, like really pointing out where are those snapshots based in the model, and all specific notes you took, and all IDs.
We really took a lot of snapshots here.
Yes. Great.
That's it about the snapshot export.
I guess so.
Right.
I think we have had a question in between. Let me just look.
So the snapshot
photos. Yeah, it's a different question. Could we change the wall thickness when exporting?
This is not possible currently because like the wall thickness is predetermined. So for walls that have been scanned from two sides, we are basically establishing the thickness, how it is. And for outer walls, we just have a fixed value right now. Yeah, but we heard this already from a few customers. So in future, it will be also possible to modify these parameters of the model. A phrase
I really like to use is we have it in our roadmap. And it's not just a phrase. We really have it on our roadmap. It's not only like wall thicknesses. It's a bit more like when it comes to work in the 3D model, I would say.
Working with the geometry. Basically.
Working with the geometry. There is something in the pipeline, and we're going to inform you as soon as we are ready.
Good. Then should we go on with the next export?
I guess so. If there are no questions, let's just move forward.
So the next export that we want to show is our project report. So the most used export, I think, on our platform.
It is at the moment, yes.
Again, here you just have some very simple options like the units and language that you can export. And basically to take it into a few words, the project report or combines all the export we already saw up until now. So it combines overview plans, it combines floor plans, and it combines snapshot information and more, even notes for all the elements.
I was about to say that I would go a step further and say we are basically capturing every single point of data we have from the 3D model into a 2D project report. It's basically everything. The renamings, it is the self-created boxes, it is the self-created snapshots. It's basically everything. I mean, it's everything.
Yeah, let me open the export here to show you. As first part, we have this table of content, which should just help you getting an overview. So for example, we have the 5th floor here with the different rooms. And then for every room, we really have detailed information about the room layout, about user notes, about snapshots, and much more, all in a PDF format. You can see it even has 112 pages for this project, so it's quite a lot of information. What a lot of people didn't know about this table of content, you can also use it to more efficiently navigate this PDF. So for example, if I want to go into the room layout of the Office 505, I just click here in the table of content and it brings me right there.
There's a hidden link. I mean, I can tell you, I can be honest. I explored it 1 year after we released this export. I just simply didn't know, and it took me ages to scroll back and forth. But that's really helpful if you exactly know where you want to go to. So basically, what you see here is that we, in the beginning of that project report, we basically have an overview of the whole floor. But then it gets more fragmented, like going down to floor plans room by room, having all, like as I said, data captured being being there. And most interesting thing is that below every room there's even more data. If you scroll down, what we see is again the snapshots where they are pointed.
No, this is like the overview of the elements of the room here.
The objects. Sorry.
So radiators, chairs, windows with the window area and so on, measurements.
Exactly. It comes with basically everything you did. And then the next step is that all snapshots are basically attached to the room in this case.
Before the snapshots, we even have the user notes. So for example, if an element contains a note, we have it here in a separate overview, and then we have the snapshots.
finally the snapshots, yeah. And even there, they are pointed out. All notes have been taken into consideration here. Again, even if I say it for the 3rd time now, every single piece of data is in here, and it could be quite helpful for either if you give it to customers afterwards, if you use it as a collaboration sheet to work on, if you have a kind of documentation software on top of that, something like Bluebeam or whatever we have out there, everything is possible basically.
Yeah,
perfect.
So that's it about the project report. Last but not least, the Excel export, which also summarized very quickly, brings the project report in a format that you can continue working with it. So let me just show you here. We just select the Excel export. And after we click on export, we end up with this Excel sheet here, which I will very quickly open.
And this is something what I would say is basically for everyone. Project report is good for everyone as well, I would say, but here the data is even more structured, I would say.
So to give you a quick overview, the most important part are those sheets here on the bottom. So we have a sheet regarding room data, which gives you information. So we have the floor number, you have the room name here, also with the IDs to find it again in the 3D model. And then you get like important information about this room. So the floor area, the floor perimeter, wall area, so combined wall area, combined door area, combined window area. You can really go on number of doors, walls, windows, and so on. So really a lot of information.
Everything is basically pre-counted, because you will all, at some point, every one of us like has been faced with questions like, how many doors does the floor have?
Yeah.
Well, let me take a look into the PDF, and then you're counting yourself.
Yeah. And let me show you very quickly the advantage of this structured data. For example, I want to know how many doors do I have in my whole project. I just mark them and see here the sum. Oh, it's in German, the English one, but sum I think should be fine. I can see instantly I have 36 doors.
Exactly. Yeah. And if we walk through the other tabs down there, there's basically,
there is a specific sheet about snapshots. You even get an image in here, again, with all the information.
And this is quite interesting. Sorry for interrupting you again, but I like to interrupt you. When it comes to count things, for example, what I did in my pre-selection already while scanning or working in the Metaroom workspace, I know that all orange snapshots have been smoke detectors. So even if I don't rename them properly, as I should do, then I'm just able to search for all orange snapshots here.
Exactly. So for each column here, we have a filter on top as well. So this is automatically created, and I can just select the orange data points here. And again, if I mark all the orange objects here, I can see that I have 15 smoke detectors.
Exactly.
Here in my project.
In my office.
In my office.
Exactly. And this is like, you are just basically to find out everything here. Either if it's square meters of all wall surfaces, if it's square meters in general, if it's whatever it is, if it's assets.
Assets, tables, chairs, whatever. Also with an image showing the respective asset. The custom objects that we added, like the luminaires, the smoke detectors, the radiators. So you can really here, for example, narrow it down to all radiators and again count them. I can see the nodes, for example, if I have different types of radiators. So I can use the structured data to filter it in a way that that gives me more information. I can create some charts out of it, whatever. Can use it.
I have a really good question here. I wouldn't know the right answer, actually. Are doors reported twice? Meaning if I have a 2-room scan with 1 door between each rooms, will this be reported as 1 door or 2? So basically, if I scan this room from the inside, I have the door here. If I scan the room from the outside, I have it again. My non-knowledge answer would be that it's going to be counted correctly.
I think it's counted twice here. No, but it should be counted correctly, because we know exactly like this should only be counted once.
Yeah. Exactly, because if we take a look back in the 3D scene.
Yeah, like also in the 3D scene.
Exactly, because it's only one element.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one element. So the answer is they are not reported twice. We are counting them correctly. That's a question we have never been asked until today. That's
but it's good to know that people really go into detail and.
Also going back a bit, are we able in the workspace to delete or add doors, windows in case they were missed during the scan process?
Yeah, this is something that we will tackle with our geometry editing improvement.
Exactly. Honest answer for now, not yet.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Luca. Feel free.
Yeah, I just go on with the Excel export here, also like regarding openings. Here you have exactly the door area, window area, and so on. And we even have a more elaborate sheet here regarding wall surfaces, which give you like the net area, gross area, so with or without openings and so on. So really a lot of information here that you can, that you get out of the Excel export, and all from a simple scan.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say that again. I mean, This time it took us a bit more time, like to dig a bit deeper into our webinar preparations in general, and even we at some point were a bit blown away again from like how many data you really get out of one scan. I mean, no matter if it's one room or if it's a whole house or a whole floor, it is really, really nice what's possible already today, not to think about what might be possible in 2 years from now. Working closer to this I'm missing the right word, technology. There we go. From what I remember on Relux software, I think that one door is visible only in the room you added it. So if planning on Relux, you need to add door in both sides. Also Windows works like this.
Yeah, the Relux export is something very special because the planning there happens only on a room by room basis. So in Relux, you would have the door in one room, but also the same door, but in another room as well. So yeah, you basically in the Relux export, you have the door in it twice because every room is considered separately for planning.
And this is the thing about working with all those softwares out there. But from what I can tell is that even there we are working on even being better there as well. Goodie. Are we done with Excel? I think we are, right?
Yes.
So basically, from what I see, there is no open questions until here. If you still have questions, your time is now. Please drop them either in the chat or in the Q&A section. We will be happy to answer them. Next question just came in. Can we scan with Insta360?
Unfortunately not, because
I wouldn't say unfortunately. No, we just don't want.
Because
the intention is not there.
Yeah, it doesn't give us all the data that we need to capture a space properly.
Exactly. I mean, it is a question we get more often. Why don't you just take a handheld LiDAR sensor and put it through your pipeline? And you know, I think like inventing kind of those things could be possible, but what we trying to achieve here is being the out-of-the-pocket solution, something you have in your pocket, which you're doing your emails with, your calls, and so on, and which gives you the possibility to fast capturing a room, not having a second handheld or a second camera. So this is why. But this is, I mean, it's not. I don't want to sound rude in this case or mean or whatever. It's just that that we, everything is based on the iPhone, basically. Any tips for capturing the exterior space?
That's an interesting question. So capturing exterior space is not officially supported. So we digitize buildings from the inside out, basically. So we just capture the inside of buildings. I mean, you can still scan an exterior area, but what will not work there properly is the automatic recognition of different elements, so like walls and so on. So this will not work there. You still have data, you still can take snapshots, for example, and use the object creation tool to create some placeholders or whatever, but it will not be the best experience, let's say it like this.
Yeah, I mean, there is another question which adds on top of that. I had a good experience with Matterport software to export indoor and outdoor. I would be happy to work only with Metaroom. That's an interesting one because, you know, we don't see ourselves as a competitor to Matterport or those bigger scanners, I would say. We more see us as an add-on, I would say, right? Because Matterport, everything what they are doing is simply good. It just takes more time to work with all that data afterwards. If you want to have a 3D model out of it.
Yeah, our focus is also more in terms of creating data, so capturing let's say it's in very easy matters, capturing the environment and put it into numbers, and not so much on visual fidelity, capturing the environment in the most realistic way and so on.
Exactly.
So I think we're a good not add-on, but alternative to Matterport when you need those data. So you need to count chairs, you need to count ceiling lamps and so on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we had experience with people using the best of both worlds. having the outside scan with Matterport, having the inside scan with Metaroom, and just combine it in Revit or whatever it is. There are possibilities. Having said that, back to another question. Sorry to put you on the spot. Are you working on export loadouts to group often used exports together?
I remember the feature request, and it's still we're still taking it into consideration. Unfortunately, it's not asked by a lot of people. So
I mean, we fully get why you want it, and from what I can tell, and maybe if you go back, like in your minds with one of the slides we had before, seeing in how many industries we work, from what I can tell, and this is, we are still a small team, I would say. We have a roadmap which is 1.2 kilometers long, and then we have a feature request list which is even longer. We really work super hard to give you all the features you need. And from what I can tell, it is on the roadmap, but it has not the highest priority at the moment. I'm really sorry to be say honest. It's just an honest answer. I have found exterior scans working well as part of that. This is more an answer.
Yes, I mean, it's possible, but results may vary.
Yeah, exactly.
Regarding the exterior scans.
Yeah. There is one more writing. There we go. New question, new fun. What are the accuracy rate at the moment? And you have tested the LiDAR scan measurement to actual measurements?
Yes, so the accuracy basically it's based on three main factors. So the first one is the device you are using. So we recommend using an iPhone 15 onwards, so 15, 16, 17 Pro, or corresponding iPad models from the same years. They just give more precise results. So this is the component one of the accuracy.
That's the hardware part.
That's the hardware part, yeah. Component two is always the environment. So am I scanning in a dark basement, or am I scanning having a lot of light? So always having a lot of light is better. You can we always recommend to open all window shades, also turn on lights as much as possible. So have a well illuminated environment.
I mean, from what I can tell, I'm a bit lucky because we have to buy the newest hardware. I tried with an iPhone 17 Pro to scan our total dark bedroom, just using the iPhone flashlight, and it was 2 centimeters off, which I found in this environment was really good. Mm-hmm. Did you talk about the third component already?
Not yet.
Oh, sorry.
But you showed it, or you already teased it. It's like the scan experience. So especially in more challenging environments, so like with low light or very complex scenes, so large scans like multiple rooms or even whole stories or buildings, the scan experience makes a huge difference.
It really does. I mean, it comes to on-site scanning when it comes to stairways, when it comes to different things. I mean, we basically from like last year on, we did a lot of webinars when it comes to explaining how to scan. I mean, you have to follow some rules at least to get like the best possible outcome, which is like scan room by room, make sure that there is enough light, and so there is like a few rules to
and if we stick to all those rules, we can get up to 1% accuracy.
Exactly.
So 1% error, basically, yes. Not 1% accuracy.
Good.
That would not be good.
Good. Next question: is the iPhone 13 Pro less accurate, or just not as good? It's both. No, I mean what we were experiencing with like iPhone 15 Pro onwards, is basically that the cameras have been way better. I mean, there is a German word when it comes to rest light conditions, whatever it is. I mean, they are just way better when it comes to situations where the light is not really good. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even say low light the right word. I think it's like a lot of combining shadows and and things where the newer versions are way better, like to capture it.
So they are more sensitive, so they can work with lower light, so it's much more stable, which also helps, like in good conditions, having a sharper image, having a better image also helps there. So all the algorithms that are responsible for recreating the structures, so having a newer device is always better.
Yeah, and from the next question in low light.
But to answer the question, so we just said having a newer device is better, but also the iPhone 13 Pro works, obviously.
Yeah.
We just don't recommend it for large scans. So capturing a single room is still fine with the iPhone 13. But capturing like whole floors, we recommend an iPhone 15.
Yeah, if like really accuracy is needed, sometimes you just need a, like, I wouldn't say a rough, but like a floor plan where you can see like the different rooms and whatever it is. But if you want to like have it as accurate as possible, the newer the iPhone Pro, the better it is. In low light, could you use an independent light source? Yes,
of
always.
Course. I mean, do it, yeah.
Yeah, we tried it back and forth. There is some really cheap solutions from an US online seller,
which come from China mainly.
Exactly. Which you like clip-on lights for the iPhone, which works pretty good, and you can charge them via USB. They work. Yeah.
But watch out when you buy them. Most of them are not more powerful than the integrated flashlight in the phone, so you really have to search a little bit.
Yeah, you have to make sure
the good ones.
Yeah, there is no €2 solution. I would say there is a 10 to 15 euro solution, which is good. Is the SLAM function better on the 15 Pro devices or just the LiDAR?
Yeah, SLAM is definitely better. So it's working more accurately. LiDAR sensor, it's basically the same on all phones, but like let's say in a distribution of so how does each component contribute to the final result? It's more the SLAM actually that counts than the LiDAR sensor.
Last one. No, not the really last one. How often you have this kind of webinars? It helps very much. That sounds good. I'm just giving you the link to our YouTube channel. There's a lot of webinars where you can explore everything. Let me just find the right one. There we go. Give me a second. I'm dropping it into the chat here, and there is a lot of helpful webinars when it comes to different CAD programs, when it comes to
how to scan, so different workflows using different export formats as well, so with in collaboration with our partners. But we're also going to have another webinar next week.
I mean, yeah, basically it is next week Wednesday, I guess. You find it on our homepage, mrex.ai, where we don't have a plan. It's basically Luca and I opening a chat room and trying to answer all your questions. This is what we call basically an open room, more or less, which we did already last year sometimes, which turned out to be really interesting because there is a bit more of interaction. It's a bit smaller, like we can open the microphones and the cameras, like really to talk to each other. And then what we just faced the last times, that people from experience help themselves, and our help is not even more required at this point. Yeah. So it's like a first step into building up a super nice community, and we like invite you from the heart. Join us next week again. Mm-hmm. Having said that, I think all questions are answered. We have 1 minute left. I would like to thank everyone for joining. Again, we would love to see you in other webinars as well.
Amazing questions.
Thank you very much. This is what we really like, having those webinars quite interactive and even critical questions. I mean, we are quite open in answering them and quite honest, hopefully. No, we are. Yeah, see you next time. Thank you for joining.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good afternoon.